Hey, hey. Hello, everybody. Hear me okay? Or is my mic too low? Good day. Good evening, everyone.
Hey Ann, how's it going? I can hear you fine.
Perfect.
Loud and clear.
I'm doing good. How about you, Alex?
Good. Very good. Excited to join a space again. It's been a while.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Let's let's give everybody a few minutes to join.
Great job, Ann. Thank you.
And thanks, everyone.
What music are you playing? Sounds good.
It's a no copyright music for live stream.
I know Elon Musk might ban us if we don't be careful.
True.
Put some beautiful music back on. Who's H listener?
Okay. Maybe a couple more minutes and then we could start with our updates. We have a few items to go through. And yeah, time flies, right? Like it's already a month since our last space. We were in Vietnam that time. And so I'm excited to hear what we have on the pipeline. And also, welcome, Alex, Nathan. Thank you for co-hosting. Andrew Lee will be joining us later for some topics to discuss. And also Mike. Mike has always a lot of updates. Very busy schedule. Okay. Alrighty. Just let me know, guys, if you're ready to start. I think we can go ahead. This space is recorded. It will be available later on Sky Include, Twitter, and also YouTube.
Nice. Let's kick it off. What's in the agenda to start?
Yeah. So our agenda for today, just for everybody's knowledge, we will start off with you, Alex. So we have the HNS ID and name-based updates. So Alex is representing the team for the updates, and then it's going to be followed by some sharing from the Vietnam hackathon. We have a couple of promising projects that we're looking forward to, to be using soon, hopefully. Yeah, so Nathan and Mike will be sharing. And then we also have some MASQ updates, one from Agamin or Sajan. And then, there's like a long list. So, if you're ready, Alex, please take it away.
Thanks Ann, and hello to Nathan and Mike. It's nice to hear your voices. And so I guess the main thing that happened this week was .wallet. We finally have .wallet open for registrations again. And after a long, waiting period, and also collaboration between Namebase and the owner of .wallet, we're finally here, and it's awesome to see it come true, because there was a long process from the start of the gateway lawsuit, and then the wallet lawsuit, being able to get all the user data back from Gateway, which was not an easy task. And then figuring out the best strategy for users to reclaim their old .wallet domains, which was a huge effort from both sides, and now finally having them open. While this was all going on, we did launch a few smaller updates on HNS ID. So one thing that's, I think, pretty cool is, with the launch of .wallet, we also helped design and develop wallet.id, which is essentially the main bridge, for resolving, for domain resolution on Ethereum mainnet. But also we helped develop the website wallet.id, where we open source the code, as a template for TLD owners to sell, SLDs on their own websites. So this is an open source, project, which you can fork it and customize it and sell, domains of your own website through HNS ID. So it's powered by HNS ID. So that's one of the huge updates. The second one, is that it is, essentially HNS ID is reaching 1 year, the first year anniversary. That will happen beginning of September. And the first domains are going to start to expire and enter into grace period. So each domain will have a 30-day grace period where you can recover the domain, for the registration cost, and not lose it. So one of the things we implemented was email notifications. Email notifications are off-chain, but they do require the wallet owner to sign a message to confirm, to validate that is you, adding your email to the account. So that was another update that we did. And besides HNS ID, on Namebase, we are almost a month away from launching renewals, pay renewals, and one of the most requested features was a bulk transfer out, which we did. We developed that, so TLD owners can choose to remain with us or keep their domains in self-custodial. And you can find that tool on your domain manager. On the transfers, you'll see a button on the data table called bulk transfer. So you can transfer out up to 1,000 names at a time. And we have a lot of other cool projects and features that we are currently working on. Things that Aaron shared on HandyCon, like the APP registrar. So anybody that stakes a TLD will be able to sell SLDs off the Namebase registrar. That's one of the big projects we're working on. And then improving the TLD's parking page and adding more filters to the marketplace. So yeah, I'm excited to work on those. And when we have, product to show or something that's more close to finalize, we will be sharing that on Twitter and on Discord for all of you to test. So I'm excited about that. These are like the main points that I wanted to share with you. And if anybody has like a question or anything that they would like to ask, I'm open to anything.
So 1 year is a big milestone. It feels longer, honestly. but that's exciting. And then the dot wallet went really smoothly. The claiming was pretty seamless in my opinion, and so it's a 30-day grace, right? So everybody's got to remember to renew if they register. A lot of people registered, myself included, at the last year. So you have 30 days. Actually, a lot of people talk about that on the ENS side, but what happens if it expires? Is there like a auction process, or it's just open to be claimed, registered by anyone, or what's the expiration process?
That's a good point to bring up. So, HNS ID is a bit different from ENS. We don't have like, the Dutch auction process when it expires. It essentially works like a regular registrar, where if your name expires, it will automatically go into grace period, which is a 30-day grace period. And essentially the domain is expired, but it's kind of reserved for your wallet for 30 days for you to recover it, essentially. So that's what it is. So no auction process, none of that.
Got it.
Yeah, making it simpler.
So then, basically, after that 30-day grace, that current wallet owner doesn't do it, forgets, or then anybody can register day 31, first come, first serve.
Yeah, essentially yes. So the process behind grace period is very similar to a regular registrar, where if you miss that 30-day mark, it will go. It can be available to register again.
Well, even in Web 2 domains, there's at least GoDaddy auctions are pretty hot. I've even myself participated in those. So I think they make a lot of money at GoDaddy by auctioning off expired domains. And I don't exactly know how that works, but they don't just let anybody register. I don't think. I think it's like auctioned. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm not sure if you're familiar, but there's GoDaddy expired auctions. I think some people here I see in the audience might know it better than I do, but a lot of Web 2 domain investors are pretty active in these expired domain auctions, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know exactly how it works at GoDaddy. But obviously, HNS ID, we are open to ideas and suggestions, and if expiring domain auctions is something that you would see value in, that would be interesting for us to consider.
Better for the community not to. I think it's more for I think
Mm-hmm.
GoDaddy makes so much money off of that because basically they get all the proceeds from the auction. But it seems like ENS, I think they make a lot of money off their auctions too of expired domains. So I don't think the community, I'd love to hear others can come up on stage and speak, but I don't think the community likes it. It makes mostly the money for those registrars that are selling them because they get all the proceeds. The previous owner doesn't get any of those from the .eth or from GoDaddy. It all goes to like that centralized group, whether it's the DAO, ENS DAO, which is centralized, or GoDaddy, which is a private company. It doesn't go to the community.
Yeah, exactly. So when it goes into the Dutch auction, it starts off at 20K for 5-letter. I'm not sure, but I believe the less letters it has, the more, the higher the value starts on that auction. And then it's just a 60 or 30-day period where the value just goes down every day. And then it just goes into regular registration pricing all over again.
Yeah.
And, I actually was trying to buy, I was trying to buy a domain on .eth as a test to see how it worked, and it was a 5-letter domain, and it was at 20k when it expired. And honestly, it wasn't like a super rare name, but still it was 20k. So I believe that it's one of the things community and ENS don't like, and obviously it helps fund the DAO.
Yeah.
In our case, there's not really a DAO. There's a developer fund to help pay for development on HNS ID, and that comes from the registrations that are made, not anything else.
Okay.
Sorry.
Great. No, it's good. It's good. I'm happy. Trying to, but the dot wall is definitely exciting. I'm actually going to do an interview with I think people know him as Scott, the owner of Dot Wallet.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably, actually in June, we scheduled it. And, but, it seems like he's happy. I feel like the Dot Wallet has processed, the claiming went smoothly. Is there any kind of juicy behind the scenes info or numbers or how are, I definitely definitely the best performing, right, on HSID?
Oh yeah, definitely. And if you go to the leaderboard, HNSID/leaderboard, you'll see it's number one, with more than 3,000 registrations. An interesting thing that I can say is that through the process of the .wallet claims, we found out that there were a lot of emoji .wallet domains, and we initially did not support emojis at all. But we were getting some people like a bit frustrated about losing their emoji, especially the single emoji domains. So the team quickly came up with a plan to release the ability to register emojis. And a cool thing for all the emoji lovers of appreciatives, an emoji Unicode has more than 5 letters, and usually domains with more than 5 letters are the cheapest. So that's something cool that you can take advantage of if you're interested in registering single emojis on HNS ID. From that, we also saw that we could easily implement emoji staking, so staking emojis on HNS ID, which I believe is a first for on-chain namespaces, like the ability to own Alex dot, the heart emoji or the handshake emoji, or an emoji dot emoji, which I think is pretty cool. And we've seen a few people stake it with a lot of registrations, like the dot heart. I believe was the first one to activate registrations, and it's now got over 80, I believe, registrations. And I thought that was pretty cool. And also the claim lists became way higher when we opened emojis, which is obviously good for that wallet and for the customers that were expecting to reclaim those as well. So that's a funny story. We did not plan emojis at all. But then through the process of the wallet claims, we decided to work on it and quickly implement it. And I think it's working great. So yeah, that's a funny one.
No, I'm happy to see that. Yeah, I love emojis, especially single emojis. I see it also in the ENS community, HNS, and yeah, I think it's kind of also related to the NFT and the crypto space as well. That loves emojis. Okay, this is great.
Definitely.
All right. Anybody have more questions for Alex? Thanks for that.
Yeah, I'm happy to share. And if you think of a question later, just feel free to reach out on Twitter or Telegram or Discord. I'm happy to have a conversation with you.
With the domains that are expiring, because all the .HNS are expiring soon, is there a way for people to bulk renew them?
On HNS ID, you
Yeah.
mean? Not currently, no. But it will
We
be
should probably,
a quick. Yeah.
because there are some people, like if you look at the, I think it was OpenSea, where you can see the unique owners. There are some people with a lot of domains, and they would love to be able to bulk renew.
Yeah, that's true. We when we launched the first 3 TLDs or 4 TLDs, there was a user that invested in over, I believe, 200 domains, and now has even more. So because of that user, we had to implement pagination on the domains list. That was funny, but also helpful. And yeah, there were a lot of like tiny unplanned features that we ended up releasing. So things like the avatar themes. You can put your avatar on your domain on light mode and dark mode. We added search filters on your domains list because of like these power users that have a lot of domains. And obviously like funny things like viewing your domains in the list view or like the cards view like you do on OpenSea. So, I mean, features are planned and others kind of, are developed according to the needs we see end users, talk to us about. And I think, bulk, renewals will be definitely something to look into. I agree. Yeah, but I'm also very excited to hear about how it went, during the hackathon and,
Yeah, let's go to that point. Nathan, can
yeah.
you share with us?
Yeah, it was really good because you could meet up with a lot of people that I've only met up online. You know, it's good to be able to see people like you got Mike and Andrew Lee and Rithvik. That was great. The actual projects, a lot of email projects. I've got one up and running at the moment on my one of my servers, so you can send me an email at what's my email address? Let me think. contact@nathan.woodburn. So that was one of the projects that they wrote, which it's all right.
Wait, so I can send you an email from my Gmail account and you'll get it?
Not from a Gmail because Gmail unfortunately doesn't resolve handshake domains.
Right.
And I think if I sent you an email, it would also go to spam. Well, actually, probably not get delivered because Gmail would fail the DMARC or something. Yeah.
But handshake to handshake, it was work.
Yeah, handshake to handshake works. I can't remember who it was, but I managed to have he set up a server and I set up a server and we were able to talk. Well, let me see, who was it?
Nice.
I can't remember now. Somebody. HNS broker. That's who it was. So he's got a server and we're able to send emails to each other. So I'll probably write up record a video tutorial on how to set it up on a cheap virtual private server, like a cloud VM, I'll probably just set up a YouTube tutorial saying, here's how you can do it so that anybody can set it up for all of their Handshake domains, and it's all self-hosted. You don't have to trust me, and that should hopefully create a bigger pool of people who are communicating on email, on Handshake.
Awesome. I'm excited to try it out.
Yeah. Feel free to send me an email. Is Flip-Flop still up? I don't think so. It's a bit sad because you could send an email from there, and that's easy to set up.
Okay, Andrew's here. Ann, did you get him up here? I think. Okay. Well, I think we'll get him up in a second. But yeah, I mean, the Hanoi hackathon, I had a vlog about it, and there's still a lot of stuff coming out of it. There's a small Telegram group discussing. But yeah, I was really impressed right, Nathan? I mean, there was a lot of young technical talent there, right? I mean, most were in uni, and maybe give us more of your high level thoughts, like what you saw as your technical and with their ability and progress.
Yeah, I think we probably should have given a bit more time to fully flesh out some of their projects, but they had a lot of interesting thoughts. Like, it's good to get new people on board. But yeah, if they have, give them a couple more months to work on stuff, they could create some pretty useful applications on Handshake, I reckon.
Yeah, and then other than hey, how's it going? Yeah, and then other than just the hackathon itself, I mean, I think it's really about bringing the community together, and, as kind of Nathan alluded to, but there was also a very active Handshake community in Vietnam. There was the Handshake Vietnam club or community, which I didn't even know existed. But they were big supporters of this conference in general, and it was really good to see that we have an enthusiastic community there.
Yeah, it was great to meet up with all of them. They've got I think it's probably about 4 or 5 people from Handshake Vietnam that I met, so it's a decent crowd. And then all the people that flew over there as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed, because I think we all met during COVID online from lockdowns, and it was the first event for me, at least. I know there's a NamesCon, some other chances people got to meet, but I got to meet so many Handshake community members. It was really a powerful time, and a lot of great discussions during the event, and of course, after and between the event. So really excited for all that's coming, and but yeah, I have to learn this email system, Nathan. That was my favorite. There were some teams there that had really good talent. I'm actually going back to Hanoi in June, and I'm going to try to meet them again. But it was really exciting to see them. And I think you were working with them a lot in Rithvik, right? I think even before the events and everything, you guys put a lot of effort into developing some of those teams.
Yeah, so about a month or so before the in-person event, we set up a Discord server with all of the teams just to help them troubleshoot problems, make sure they actually understand some of the technical stuff, like how Handshake DNS works, how to set up a light client and stuff like that. So yeah, that was pretty good. So you go into Hanoi, do you have contact with the people?
Not all, but one or two, and I've been messaging them, and I'll speak with Irene. I know she's really busy with her final exams, but it's about 3 or 4 days on here. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. Okay, so we have an outline, or is there? So we just to kind of recap where we are in the space, and help put together an agenda. HNS ID and namebase update, and Alex just finished up, and now we're currently on this hackathon Vietnam reflections, which was really amazing. I think there's discussion about doing that maybe annually there in the Hanoi. Like Andrew said, it's a very strong community. I wasn't aware either, but there's like a Handshake Vietnam community. It was really exciting, and there was some people that have been active many years that you never really heard from. They're not as vocal on, but they're there. They're in the telegrams and on the community, but for various reasons you don't hear from them maybe online, but they're very active in Vietnam and the local community, which is exciting. All right. So next, go ahead.
Yeah, it will be Handshake Canada next. We have decentralizers here. Yeah, they're making some noise lately.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I want to use my bad Canadian accent. But or that's Australian, but there's something for Canada. But yeah, Santiago, you want to share some developments in Canada? Not put for you on the spot, but if you got anything you'd like to share. Okay, let's move on. I do want to sneak in one that's not on the agenda, but Bitmain, which I think a lot of us know is supporting and helping with mining on the Handshake blockchain, is having their Margie. A lot of you know. I'm not going to be able to make it, but they're having a Las Vegas WDMS, World Digital Mining Summit, in June. And they're actually looking for ambassadors in Handshake. I might reach out to Noel or some others, but I thought I'd just shout out on here. If you're, active in the community and you'd like to represent us in Las Vegas, I'm checking here the date. It's mid-June, but, depending on, we can talk, but there definitely is, what's the date here? June 17th and 18th in Las Vegas at the Fontainebleau Hotel. I went in Oman, a few of you know, and they love it.
Mike, I don't think I can hear you.
You can't hear me? Gosh. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Okay. I made a mistake. I hit mute, and sometimes when I unmute, it doesn't unmute. I should have just left it unmuted, but I was trying to mute. So that I've noticed sometimes people can't hear. Maybe Andrew ask if he can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear
you fine. I can hear you fine.
All right.
I'm guessing Alex had something up with his connection.
Okay. But I'm going to reach out to Noel later. I was just chatting to actually, if anybody here is WeChat, Bitmain is, they're more active on WeChat, so I mostly talk to them on WeChat. But they did ask me if there's people from Handshake community that would like to represent Handshake at Las Vegas, June 17th to 18th. And there's probably some perks and benefits too. Of course, I'll talk to you about that offline. But if there's people here interested to make it, it would be really awesome. Maybe we can get a little speech in there or some other representation for Handshake at Bitmain's WDMS conference. So that's a little announcement I wanted to make. Then the next point is MASQ, Handshake Domain Resolution, from the URL bar. So it's a pinned tweet and but it's really great to see the MASQ is a name, MASQ, or I call it MASQ, domain resolution for Handshake there for the. But I'd love to hear what people think of that and if there's more we can do with them.
It looks interesting. I haven't actually got the latest version up and running yet. I've been busy with other stuff, but to have the resolution in the URL, like in the main app, sounds like it's a good idea. Just need to double check how they're doing it, whether they're doing it trustlessly or relying on some centralized like DNS server or something. That would be my only real concern with it. Like either way is good. It's just, would be nice to have everything decentralized.
Yeah, I agree. We have to double check too. But also, that was also a grant from the community. So that was really great. He's been really contributing a lot for this. So, thank you for everyone's your contributions. Okay. Also, Sajin, I think Ann mentioned, has a bot that he just released. So you can see it on the pinned tweet. I'll open it up right now. It's I'll read his tweet. Introducing our own HNS bot at hnsbro.world. Learn about the Handshake ecosystem from the bot. One-stop solution to all of Handshake learning needs. Type your query. So there's a little bit more to it there, and that just was posted, I think, within the last day or so. So that's awesome. And there's another announcement from Sentinel, independent DVPN, now 150,000 plus downloads, and Sentinel always has been supporting HNS with including it in their VPN. So that's really great news. And feel free to comment if you're on stage. And then the last point that I see on the list is HNS Chat. I don't see Eskimo's call today, but he is selling HNS Chat, the name and the technology. So that's up for auction in ShakeStation. So that just started, I think, a day or two ago. And if Eskimo is around, he maybe would share about that. But that's another announcement. How do you feel about that, Nathan? What are your thoughts?
It's always sad to see like a product go away, an application, sunset. But like HNS Chat really, I understand why there wasn't really much users on it. Like it wasn't really used, but no, I don't know if it was really worth shutting it down or leaving it up.
Yeah, I think it depends on the cost. A whole host, I think, is probably one of the main, or of course maintaining it or other parts of it. But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, Eskimo, he's always, I don't know, in a good way I call it a hacker. He's always building stuff and making stuff. And while it is sad, that's what it takes with hacking and building. I mean, I think he's finding success in ShakeStation, it seems, and so while it is sad, I mean, it's part of evolution and life, and I respect people for building stuff and contributing, but we got to work on what works, right? What gets traction versus what doesn't. So, I think he's maybe using that to double down on ShakeStation, I believe. Seems like he's getting traction. If Eskimo's around, I'd love to hear from him.
Yeah.
Oh, I see Corey Hero is here. I don't know if he wants to come up and share about MASQ. I can see him in the audience if he wants to request speak. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm not the host. Ann's the boss here, so or he can request but just while we keep going.
Yeah, if Corey can come on stage, that would be awesome.
You guys.
Great. Thanks for making it. So,
Yeah. Had a good friend in the crowd say that you guys are having a space. He's like, oh, someone just mentioned MASQ. I was like, wow, there's a space. I got to stop what I'm doing and jump in.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. We try to do these at least once a month, like towards the end of each month at this time. And, we'd love to, invite you more. But yeah, thanks for integrating Handshake. Maybe you can give us from your own words, like, a little bit about it and some of the updates.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to. Again, this is one of the different phases of pretty much the very first, like the simple phase of implementing HNS support in the browser. So right now, anyone can download the latest version, maskbrowser.com. If you're just open browsing, like from your normal IP, which is when you first open it, you're browsing normally through your own internet. You can go to most Handshake domains by just typing it in and ending the Handshake domain in the /, and it'll use one of the community. I think it actually uses two, but it uses one of the third-party resolvers, RSVR.xyz, or I think it uses another one too. I'll have to check with the devs, but basically it works, which is pretty cool. So you can start going to your favorite Handshake domains. And then we're still working on the other phases, which will be, more native resolution, maybe running with a light node, like something like what Bob Wallet's done, which is amazing. So shout out to Rithvik and Nathan Woodburn, all those guys working on lots of cool things, and a few others I've forgotten. And then, we're still looking at the Dane and stateless Dane, which is like the ultimate, right? The ultimate, on-chain certification of domains. So yeah, that's what we want to achieve, hopefully by the end, Q3 or end of the year.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Go ahead, Nathan. Go ahead.
Yeah, sounds good. So using, resolver.xyz. So yeah, that's like, ideally we'd have decentralization, but like, for
That's right.
most people, like, it's, if you have it running first before you, aim to have all the, all the main features, but stateless Dame would be, as you said, like the final idea, final product. I'll have to check with Rivik, but I think stateless Dane is pretty much done, like is pretty much ready to be used.
Amazing.
Not in MASQ yet, like just on the actual main program side of it.
Just the library, like you're building it as a library form, eh?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, stateless Dane, trustless verifications of it could be not too distant.
That's cool news, man. I was going to check in with you guys and of course Eric as well. He sort of incubated some of our partnerships together with the implementation. Yeah. I did meeting to circle back and chat with you guys too to see how it's going.
Yep. Like it's I'm cool. At the moment running Fingertip, so that's the main resolver on Handshake. So I'm running that with stateless Dane for what's probably been about a month so far, and no real issues. So I think it's pretty well polished up. So look out for it, eh?
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's cool. I'm glad I dropped in. I got myself into some alpha accidentally, eh? That's great. Yeah, super cool. And yeah, hopefully that also introduces a lot of Handshake community to, like the other partners we've developed, but also just kind of seeing, what else is being built there in the browser space and the central, moving away from centralization and having censorship resistance. Because, another thing we'll all be seeing soon, which I don't know if you guys have touched on it, but it's kind of relevant, is that Google Chrome's going to enforce the whole change to Manifest v3. And for those that don't know what that means, it was kind of a move against privacy blockers like, uOrigin and Privacy Badger and stuff, to kind of push them to the side of being able to have extensions blocking ads, blocking pop-ups in browsers. And so, of course, we don't want more closed off ecosystems. We want more openness and stuff. So yeah, I mean, keeping browsers like, impervious, the fingertip, MASQ alive is pretty important, just to keep access to all things that we all build, it's pretty important now.
Yeah. With all the software at the moment, all the big companies, slowly pulling all these little changes to basically control our entire lives, Like just recently, what was it? Windows is pretty much, going to have what they call Windows Recall, where basically they're recording everything you do on your device to then feed to AI to help you be more productive. I'm like, I don't know. I prefer to just have my computer do what I tell it to do without, trusting some AI to handle all my data. Yeah. So hopefully with, MASQ, we've got, we control the data. We, it's our browser. We are the ones that, own our data, which is, that's what we want. It's the ideal solution.
Yeah, 100%. We don't want to bend the knee to the overlords, really. These changes, like you say, they're thinly veiled changes, but really they're like deepening the surveillance of the. If you do something, you need to recover your data or your state of your computer. Yeah, you just roll back, and I'm like, where the hell is that even transmitted? Oh, wait, it's optional, guys. If you want to transmit it to a backup on our server, it's optional right now. Well, how optional is it, right? Do you have to opt in or do you have to opt out? All that stuff really scares me, at least, to be in the privacy space.
Yeah. Like just, recently, I'm not sure if you saw on the news, but the latest, iPhone update has been undeleting people's photos that they didn't know were backed up to iCloud. So it's like, how much data do we think is gone, but is really still, saved on somebody else's servers?
Oh man, it's scary. Yeah. Well, it's just kind of like, the thing is, we are alarmed by it because we're living in this space, very vigilantly looking at things that are slowly changing, like the slippery slope is getting steeper, right? But the average user of these products, they're not aware of these things, until something might happen or until they question it. And it's like, yeah, it's always kind of interesting to like take our lens off and say, well, what's the average, other 4 billion, whatever, 5 billion people in the world, how do they perceive these things? If they even realize, they probably don't,
Mm.
But yeah, no, you got, hey, I haven't, touched back on the way some of these, on the happenings. Did you guys have a lot of, if anyone knows, were there some like brands and big, companies kind of claiming those reserved, domains or ones that were released? There's quite a bit of activity around that.
So with the release domains, most of them, somebody decided to write a script to start every single auction, which was kind of annoying because I wanted to spread them out and, save my funds, but somebody opened them all. But for the, permanently locked ones, we have to do a hard fork to allow them to be claimed again. So that's a future problem that we probably should start working on, and that will then allow people to continue claiming their domains. I personally haven't heard of anybody trying to claim their domain and having it like them getting caught up in the locked problem, but I don't know. I don't usually get told about people trying to claim domains.
No, we haven't had anybody yet. If you were wondering. But the hard fork was actually also a huge project done by Namebase. And special shout out to Noldar, which is one of our, like,
But you mean soft fork, right? Yeah, soft
yeah,
fork.
soft fork. Yes, apologies, you're right, soft fork.
The hard fork's coming soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, hopefully.
Yes,
It'll take
hopefully.
a while, but yeah.
Yeah, but it was a huge effort from Noldar, so special thanks to him for his efforts on the soft fork.
Yeah. It was just in the nick of time. We probably should have planned it a bit better, but we can learn from this and spend more time planning the hard fork, I guess.
Nathan spilled the beans. Have we talked about hard fork yet? I think it's been a Vietnam thing. Actually, are we?
Oh, I just mean the hard fork to re-enable the domains, to allow people to claim them again.
Oh.
Whether we do anything else, I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting aspect. Sorry, Twitter booted me, of course, right when I was going to say something. So thanks for adding me the speaker again. Where's the best place you guys field the discussions? I know you got a pretty busy, forum. Is that where you sort of talk about these things a bit more in depth and see what communities are interested in?
Yeah, I mean, so we had, pretty in-depth conversations, just basically kind of sketching out, hey, what are some things that we'd like to accomplish, if we were to do a hard fork, right? And then, the obvious one that makes sense is, kind of unlocking, those domains, that are locked due to, that were locked at the soft fork. So, I mean, I think that's one. Another candidate I think is, I was just looking at kind of the tokens, or kind of the existing tokenomics of Handshake today. Shout out to Simon who has a really nice block explorer and a stats page around all of this. So there's, approximately 600 million HNS circulating. And then there's an extra 900 million that's still locked just for open source dev claims. The amount of devs claiming that has basically stalled. And so it behooves us to figure out what to do with that, right? And to kind of reallocate that. So that's a huge piece because, trying to figure out, kind of because the original design was, that airdrop would be used to kind of bootstrap the system. And since, only 2% or so was used, it leaves a lot of room, for how to, kind of figure out how to reallocate it. So then we started thinking, well, all right, so, we're going to unlock unlock some of these Alexa domains that were, locked because that makes sense. We're going to figure out how to reallocate this, but, where to reallocate this to and what else, if we are doing a hard fork, right? Because it's hard to pull off a hard fork. What else kind of do we want to do? What other kind of features would we like to kind of add, to the hard fork itself? And so, going back to, Kari's original question, I mean, we're in very preliminary stages of kind of sharing basically an idea around, how one we would reallocate to, some other goals is keep the system decentralized, and then kind of three, see if we can figure out kind of any other features, we can add that the community seems to want, into the hard fork. And so a big part on the feature side, a big part of this, includes kind of the idea of, doing, enabling like L2s, or layer twos, on Handshake that would be used to do, to enable like SLDs. So second level domains, like on Handshake as opposed to on a separate, on a completely separate chain. And so this would enable things like HNS ID or any other kind of, on-chain SLD system, to work natively on Handshake. And so we think that could be an interesting idea. And then to kind of even stretch that out a little bit further, the other idea would be to, enable, TLDs themselves to kind of like tokenize, on these on this L2. So for example, if like, like you're just using MASQ as an example, if MASQ, had, like by default had, users, user.mask, that were, on chain on this L2, eventually, like well, I guess MASQ has this token on Polygon, I think, right? Or Kari, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
Yep. We're on Polygon and
yeah. Yeah, but maybe there'd be a way, because since Polygon's, kind of EVM based, like maybe there'd be a way to kind of bridge it onto this L2 or something like that too. And just having an EVM capable L2 itself, that works with, Handshake SLDs would also open up a lot of like integration possibilities, with, wallets and explorers and things like that are already built in the EVM space. And so I mean, this is kind of where we're, ideas that we're kind of exploring. Some of the kind of unknowns here, or things that we're like still kind of figuring out before we circulate it larger, or like more widely, within the Handshake, ecosystem is like, just hammering down some like, key decisions. Like, do we, like, there will have to be some kind of entity, right, that gets spun up to kind of build some of these things. But, do we make that like a temporary entity, or like, what are some other kind of like options for that? I do have like a decent, like, and then, if there's apps that need to be built to enable this kind of functionality, so enable, very easy ways for TLD owners to start selling their SLDs on, on the L2. Oh, well, I guess HNSAD is a very good example of that. It's just like, let's say that's covered. But then maybe like simple ways to tokenize TLDs, on this L2, that would be kind of nice. But yeah, and then there were maybe like DEX tooling or things like that. Other like kind of applications that need to be built. Like how do we kind of like structure that? And so, there's some kind of like, there are some other details that kind of need to be figured out, and we're kind of in the process of like, kind of, shaking those kinds of decisions out right now.
Cool, man. That's super exciting. I think that aspect of an L2 would be quite cool because it kind of natively integrates that. And then you, of course, have this whole space of, a more sort of utility within the chain for people to, monetize their own domains, maybe rent out, SLDs. I think right now, the way SLDs work on Handshake, it's through, you kind of have to use a third party, right? Like Namebase or, some kind of hosting on a different chain. Superbridge or Superlink does something like that, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. So the Handshake does have a few options, to do SLDs. I mean, I think you can do it yourself through like something like Vara or something. But yeah, or on a centralized kind of, on a server, on a name server. But yeah, there's a few different options.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Just speaking out loud, like cause I guess I kind of bring in a different perspective cause like I've been in other projects, and so coming into like all the cool state of evolution you guys are in, I don't know how you guys make decisions in terms of if it's on-chain governance you guys do to like allocate funding or create councils or, decision-making groups, but like one thing that came to mind when you said you've got such a large developer allocation that is sort of stalled with claiming is like maybe that could be voted to create a business unit that does reach out to these reserved domains, try and drum up some demand and make it like a reward base. So like, let's say they approach Nike and talk, somehow they get to the top and they're like, hey, do you want to secure your uncensorable domain? And Nike says yes. You get these business people to like basically headhunt these corporations to commit to buying it. And you can do this deal through, like you say, like a subsidiary entity or temporary or a foundation, whatever. Do the deal because these guys aren't going to go and buy HNS. Maybe they'll just want to do it in fiat. But you do it, and then a part goes to the community, a part goes to the biz dev, the BDMs that you've hired, and then it all kind of creates like a business unit to like engage in these corporations to claim their ID. Like instead of everyone waiting, oh, I hope one day Uniswap comes in and claims their HNS. You know, like that's not how things work often. They kind of need to be approached. So it could be something you could use as funds for it. It's just thinking outside the box, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it'd be great to use this entity to kind of like jumpstart kind of, kick things off for Handshake on multiple levels, including kind of business development, with businesses, with exchanges, with, integration partners, etc.
Yeah. And there's lots of very, dynamic legal structures you can pursue now. Like, for example, I mean, I'm just saying because I'm going through some motions of this. Anyone listening, this is linked to MASQ, but not public. Setting up foundations, there's places that are not just the traditional, offshores like Cayman and British Virgin Islands and stuff. Like, there's places like Nevis where you can basically set up a multi-form foundation. And if you need to change it into a corporate later or a for-profit entity, you can apply to change it, but it's essentially founderless. It could be run by a multi-sig wallet. Things are on chain. There's no cap gains. And then you could have it itself own business entities in certain locations like LLCs or LTDs. And they can do the operations in the real world if you need the real world. What am I saying? Fiat world, right? The crap money, that's paper. They can operate there. But then the funds filter back to a foundation that is basically ensuring that the beneficiaries are the blockchain users and the community, right? So it's really cool. Like there's a lot of ways you can do it now. It's not like hiring legal engineers in the old days to figure things out. Like there's a lot of really cool pathways that you guys could do, which will help,
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I might have to pick your brain on this entity structure kind of stuff. Yeah, for sure. Those are good ideas.
Yeah, man. But no, your community's got so much going on. Like it's cool. I should jump into these chats more, and get on the pulse with, shake more hands with you guys, like just to kind of keep up the speed. Cause lots of cool things going on.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Welcome. Yeah. I mean, it's open. We try to, that's what always attracted me to Handshake is truly is a, permissionless open community for all of us to communicate and build. So you're welcome. And yeah, thanks for building with Handshake in your browser. So it's great.
Yeah, I will be upfront. I was a little disappointed at our speed getting that in and the fact that it's only like, it's like a semi-centralized first implementation using, one of the community built, resolvers and stuff. So yeah, we certainly want to keep progressing it. But I do have to drop off soon. What I was going to put out there is a question. I'll hang out for a few minutes as well, but I just recently did a space with Filebase, who does a lot of hosting of files for companies, for just retail users, where, you could basically put files up into the D cloud or D storage, IPFS. And I was asking them if they actually had like a walkthrough guide of someone who owns an HNS domain and hosting a decentralized website from it. And I looked at all their docs. I saw that they had one for unstoppable domains, which is like, ew, right? Like, is anyone in the community, or do you guys know of anyone who's done it for HNS and has a guide that we could spread around?
From memory, we don't have a guide for, was it File? What was that one called? Filecoin? No.
File-based. I mean, they're basically like a
File-based.
sort of Web 2.5, platform, but it's essentially IPFS based.
Yeah, we do have. Well, we used to have one for SIASKI, I think it's pronounced SIA, SIA.
Oh, yep. Oh,
But
yep. Sorry, yep.
but they aren't really running anymore. They're all kind of all over the place. So we do really need to start getting some more options for a decentralized file storage for websites. So yeah, that would sounds like a good idea actually to get a Firebase in.
Yeah, man. Let me here about this. I'll be see. We've built a mesh network, right? So I'll try and be the mesh here before I go. Right, I'll take my leave. I'll put out a little proposal and tag you guys, and we can chat about it. But it would be super cool at the very least, and this kind of ties into an announcement we're making soon. Sorry, not to like keep shilling MASQ and stuff, but like we're all connected with the cool stuff. We're releasing an ecosystem accelerator program, and one of the aspects will be like putting out ideas like that to the community. Maybe it might be something relatively small, like a guide, and we'll say, hey, here's a little reward. You can earn some tokens by doing this, but someone can go out, write a guide of, hey, I own an HNS domain. I want to make an IPFS-based decentralized website with Filebase. Write it up. Put the proposal through and be paid with a grant. So yeah, like I'll put something together and we can all combine this. So it will be HNS file-based MASQ IPFS, and then maybe someone will pick up on it and do it. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Nice. And shout out to Alani in the crowd, man. He's lurking, but he's like, he's in all the activity too.
Yeah, Alani, we'd love to have you come up if you'd like. He's shared a couple times at HandyCon, and I always like his videos and tweets. It's great to have him here.
Yeah, he's good, man. He's an undervalued. I think he likes to keep his profile like a little quieter. But when he comes in, he's like bringing lots of value, right? Maybe he can chat.
Great. All right,
Yeah,
others
man,
also stage.
I was going to say thanks for having me, brother, and all the people here. Thanks for trying out MASQ too, if you have. And I'll connect with you guys after this.
Keep up the good work.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, others. Yeah, Alani, I do see you there. I see a lot of other people in the community in the audience. You're also welcome to come up on stage. We would like this to be an open forum. So I'd love to also hear.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh, hello.
Hi, sorry, I heard, I've been patiently listening and I was lurking, but it's really nice to see everyone. I'm the number one masketeer out there, huge fan, big supporter, but more importantly, HNS, you guys rock. Always a pleasure. Love the ecosystem, everything I can do to support. I'm always, at the ready.
Appreciate it, Alani. We learn from you, and you always tell. I see it in your tweets and even in your speeches at our events and others. It's Web3 is about building products people need, right, and use. I remember that being one thing you've said quite often, right? We have to build products that the world needs. It's a lot of times in crypto or Web3, people are building stuff that there's not a need for. So I think I always remember that about your sharings.
Yeah, that's definitely a shared perspective. It's important to build tools that actually impact our daily lives, that people value, that people can utilize, that benefits them, because everything we build comes down to 5 words. What's in it for me? Whether it's privacy, security, decentralization, access, financial inclusion, participation, or anything that empowers people the world over. And that's always what we should keep in mind. Unfortunately, as you all know, in Web3, there are so many tools there that what I call them, slideware, everything is on the deck, but where's the product? What's the key value proposition? It's got to be obvious, and it's got to benefit everybody. So kudos to all the builders out there.
Great. Thank you so much, Delaney, really. So, yeah, I mean, I was excited what Andrew shared. We talked about this in Vietnam, where we're looking to do a hard fork for various reasons. There's more and more discussions happening, and I think this is one of the more first times I think we've brought it up to the general, in the spaces here. So I'd love people, maybe if they have suggestions or questions about this or what they think. We're trying to always have consensus, and it will take a bit of time, as we know, but we are excited about this. I personally am supporting this. It's definitely going to be an exciting time for the Handshake's next evolution. Are people clear about it? Alex, what do you think? I see you up here.
Sorry, Mike, can you repeat that?
About,
Sorry.
are you clear about this hard fork? I mean, Andrew just shared a little bit about it. What are your thoughts or questions or perspective?
I mean, the idea is I like the idea that Andrew brings to the table because it allows Handshake to expand and to grow into something much larger. For me, like the thing that I'm personally more looking forward to is the fact that the ability to create L2s and the ability to create, your meme coin through your TLD or your L2 meme coin, or let's say L2 coin, maybe it's a better term. But essentially it allows for more expandability and essentially we can see it growing into the new let's say that let's say this in regards to the idea of the L2s. I think that if it happens, we will see a lot of new unique spaces within Handshake, and I think that's good because it will allow not only for it to expand, but also for it to reach other audiences, which I think is cool. In regards to the locked up HNS amount, I mean, if there's a way that we can organize the reallocation of it, obviously I think that's cool for the current community. But I would also think that a part of that HNS could go towards a liquidity fund to get into exchanges. So I don't know if you saw that Binance and Kraken exchange were like opening up for new coins listings, and there could be an opportunity there, I think, to get into bigger exchanges.
Yeah, so with that point, if we had that would, for like finance and stuff like that, they really need to talk to basically a company. So I think the only way to really get that working would be if we created a company that then held X amount of that reallocated HNS to then work on exchange listings. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do agree. If especially if the exchanges require some kind of liquidity pool or payment or anything like that, then that entity will definitely need some kind of budget for sure.
Yeah, this is why I think we haven't seen Handshake in other exchanges. It's so decentralized that they just won't get into a completely centralized exchange, right? So that's one of the things why I'm also looking forward to Warp being launched.
Yeah. So this hard fork is less decentralizing the HNS part, like the funds of Handshake. But the domains and everything else that's all, staying the same. Except you're able to claim some of the domains again. But like the whole idea is we need to centralize enough of Handshake to build and further the rest of Handshake, So whether that be exchange listings, which need to be a centralized company for Binance, because we need to sign an NDA and all sorts of stuff, or whether that be for development funds or things like that, where having some funds allocated to then be able to give away can be really beneficial to creating uses or applications on Handshake. That's where it helps to be centralized, even though we're a decentralized protocol.
No, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, we need to get this like balance between centralization and decentralization kind of correct. I mean, I think, one of the reasons that even like these spaces happen, or like that we have like such a great community within Handshake is because, everybody feels empowered, to contribute the ecosystem, right? In a lot of other communities, because there is a foundation or a DAO or a development company, or in some cases all three, that have like a vast amount of the coin supply and vast amount of proceeds from arrays, that, like everybody kind of defaults to those foundations or companies or DAOs to basically kind of like do everything. And so I mean I think one of the strengths of
Is it just me or
cut out? Yeah.
Yeah, I heard. I don't know if it was me.
Wait, can you say
now you're better?
Now?
Yeah, now you're back. Now you're back.
Oh, I don't know where I cut off.
Probably about 10, 15 seconds ago.
I mean, you were saying how most projects have like maybe even all three, Handshake, and then I think that's about where.
Oh yeah, and then so basically like the community looks to these entities to basically do everything, right? Organize hackathons, organize events, organize like develop everything, and as a result, like it's like an entity, and so anyways, but on Handshake side, like I think we've gone like too far on the decentralization spectrum, where the community finds opportunities to like, hey, get like let's say a listing on Kraken or Binance or something, but then they're required to put up like I don't know a few $100K or something like that, and there's nowhere to kind of put that together. Right. And then there is no DAO, or there is no like way for the community to self-organize and raise the funds, to kind of fulfill, something that would be good for the network and the community, or like kind of vote on it and things like that. And so, yeah, I mean, the rough sketch of how I'm envisioning kind of like the long-term state of this is that, I think it would be good to avoid a permanent, entity that's, kind of like responsible for, or for really, for anything. I mean, I think in the long term that, this type of entity should probably dissolve. I mean, I think there's like, for example, there's like never a nonprofit, right, that, shuts down before they run out of funds. Right. And they all set out to accomplish some kind of mission. Right. But like the only time they kind of ever shut down is basically like, they all start with, even if the mission's accomplished or whatever, like you start talking to like a lot of these nonprofit kind of people, whether, whatever their mission is, like, like after a few cycles and the founders are gone and like, after, like people just start talking about terms like sustainability and things like that, which is really like, a euphemism for they want a job forever, right? And I mean, I mean, with like ICANN and things like that, like, how much do they actually really do, right? And to like, and like, do those employees all like have things to do, and do they really need to be charging, what they charge, and all those kinds of things to, TLD owners. And so it's not very clear, like, why these things. So anyway, Handshake, like, we don't want to go, we don't want to go like too far centralized to the point where we have this like permanent, like a permanent entity that like ends up, being like a bureaucracy. And I've seen this happen in crypto projects too. And so I do think we want to avoid that, but at the same time, we do want enough to kind of like, get things kind of kickstarted again, or build the features, and apps that we need to kind of like, move to like, Handshake V2. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that balancing act is the hardest part here. And then, but yeah, long term, I think, like one maybe decent governance model is, like within Bitcoin, you see, like it's like really hard to get changes through on Bitcoin. So basically like very few changes like happen, right? Which, I mean, I guess if you're Bitcoin, that's fine. But if you're like, I mean, which, but, Bitcoin hasn't, fulfilled its original mission either, right? To be like peer-to-peer payments network. And perhaps, if it were a little bit more nimble, it could have, right? On the, I diverged, but yeah, on the Handshake side, I mean, I do think, if there's future hard forks and future reallocations and things like that are kind of necessary. I mean, one kind of like rough idea I have is that maybe like TLD owners, like with a lot of like TLD, like maybe TLD's owners or TLDs are kind of like states or something. And we can build some kind of like representative democracy type situation where TLD owners, like the collection of TLDs, are like effectively a DAO. And then, the TLD's votes, I guess, will be weighted by, how many SLDs that are subscribed to them on chain. Yeah, I mean, it's or something like that might be a better way to, like, an easier way to coordinate rather than trying to coordinate like in a very individualistic, like completely decentralized community. I don't know if people have any thoughts on that, like, or questions about that.
I mean, do we use the word guild, or I like the name guild or guild, but
yeah, guild or communities. I feel like guilds, like kind of like I mean, there's some other like connotations to that meaning. As like when you join a guild to like learning like a trade or something, which isn't necessarily like, what this is about. Yeah, but, yeah, maybe it's just more like communities where people belong. Like, and I do notice that, like, as we spend more and more time online, we are like looking to belong to, like more and more communities, right? And digital, like online communities, where, that group of and basically, I mean, it's human nature to want to like belong to certain groups, especially groups that have like similar values or interests. And so, kind of like, empowering communities to, enlist members through SLDs, as well as like kind of tokenize their communities. Long term could just be like, could be a powerful, could be a powerful platform.
yeah, I mean, I like the idea. Alex, though, what are your thoughts? Are you clear? This is the first time you heard this. I chatted a little bit to Andrew earlier about it. Is that the first time you heard that?
I mean, Andrew shared with me a bit before. I was just thinking, and I mean, I'm thinking out loud right now, but
Hey, I think if you're speaking, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I hear Alex.
No?
Alec, I don't know. I think it's you this time. Sometimes it happens to me where people can't hear others or themselves. I hear Alex.
Oh,
It is
weird.
weird. It's
Okay.
happened on Spaces
Yeah.
before. I don't know, Alex, if you know how, did you do something differently or?
Yeah, I just left the space and entered
No, it
again.
could be on my side. I don't know.
Oh,
I hear Michael, but I don't
it's
hear
happened to
Alex.
me when I left and come back. I don't know why. It's a bug I've found too. So
Weird.
It just happened to me a few seconds ago. I had
I
to
guess
hop off.
you could say it and I'll re-say it for Andrew or others that can't hear you. I can't think of any other solution.
Okay, so like if we go back, like take a step back and really think about the mission of Handshake, which is enabling freedom and safety on the internet, right? That's like the mission. I'm just wondering if uh, enabling L2s will help us, essentially enable this freedom and safety. Because what I feel is that when I think about L2s, I think about optimism, I think about base, and essentially these layer 2s are great to build applications on top, but most of what we see right now on base and optimism are NFT collections, meme coins built on top, and DeFi's and bridges. And I'm just wondering, like, maybe I'm lacking an idea for L2s to help enable freedom and safety on the internet, but I'm just wondering how would Andrew, see L2s helping Handshake towards this mission?
Well, one way I can think of,
I think
well, as Andrew said a little bit,
Alex, for Andrew or others, in a paraphrased way. It's recorded too, so hopefully it'll go on. But basically what Alex just said is, let's look back to the mission of Handshake and decentralizing the internet and how L2s would help that or not. And then Nathan's responding to that, but Andrew just heard that, or others.
yeah, so one way that L2 can really help, as Andrew said a little bit, so you got SLDs that could be on layer 2 entirely trustless. Like they are verified based on the L2, L1 sort of connection. So that's then have SLDs entirely decentralized, similar to on Optimism with HNS ID. But you could also, I'm not sure how it would all work, but you could do some sort of file store. So that way the entire stack from the main, like TLD, SLD, and file storage could all be on chain. So you could have the entire thing decentralized without the need for, well, any separate, connection to another, main chain, another L1. So then theoretically, everything would be faster to resolve because if you have something with the L1 chain, like a HSD full node, you can then verify everything. If that makes sense.
So essentially the example you're giving is that we could enable anybody to deploy, let's say, a smart contract for a file storage system on an L2 and make it scalable through the L2, essentially. As an example.
And because that's just an example, but because it then is on, there's a Handshake L2, it means that if they have a Handshake L1 node with a little bit of extra stuff to get their SLDs working, their layer 2s working, it would make it much, much faster to then like trustlessly verify the authenticity of the file store without having to have a Handshake node, a Ethereum node, an Optimism node, and all these different nodes. If that's all in one thing, it then is a lot quicker and easier to verify.
Interesting. Yeah,
This is one thought.
yeah, but it's a good thought, and I think it's doable through what Andrew was explaining. The biggest challenge I see is right now is what Andrew was saying, was how can we balance Handshake being centralized versus decentralized? Because I do remember, like, in the early days of Bitcoin, that most of the guys that mined and put it on a wallet ended up losing the wallet. There was no safety. There was none of that. And now with these, like, more centralized exchanges like Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, etc., it's safer to store your Bitcoin. And essentially, this centralized part would help with the safety part of it as well. Which is where I believe Namebase comes in, right? It is more centralized, but it is safer.
Yeah, like custodial sort of wallets make it, easier for, I guess, less secure, savvy people. They're not used to storing, private keys.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, sure, it's easy well, ideally it's not easy, but it's easy to store passwords, you got password manager and everything. But with the, a private key, you can't go and, I forgot my password, or somebody's got my account, let's kick them out. If somebody's got my account, I'm done for. There's all my funds, all my domains, there's nothing you can do.
Correct.
Okay.
So,
yeah. I'm not sure who else cannot hear Alex, but I mean, Alex seems like he's on board, likes this idea, but I guess he's just saying, like you said, Andrew, how to balance centralization and decentralization. I think I could weigh in. I mean, that's why I like what are called guilds or communities. It's not like we're not, I think the thought is it's not going to go to one group. Maybe there'll be a group for listings, one group for various different marketing efforts or events, development. So it's not like one DAO or one group. It'll be distributed to different groups, for different purposes. And even maybe at different unlocks over time, not all at once or at the beginning.
Yeah, we need to schedule a deeper brainstorming for this.
Yeah, I think
for sure.
We'll introduce it now, but yeah, there should probably be a lot of, this is not going to be a fast thing, right? So,
yeah, we've got a lot of things to work out.
Mm-hmm.
Make everything, write it all up in an easy to understand sort of document, and then get the community's feedback on it pretty much. Because at the end of the day, this is all, a small group of our idea. If the community doesn't like it, well then, we're not going to do it. So we need to write it up in a way the community can understand, then get them all to have a look at it, give us feedback. I'm sure that they'll have improvements for us, and, then we'll go from there pretty much.
Yeah, and a big part of the objective here is to observe what's kind of working and what people are interested in the community currently, right? And so, SLD sales, it is one of the more popular kind of use cases for Handshake, and it's a good one. I mean, basically, it creates value for TLDs, right? If you can sell SLDs, then TLDs are more valuable, and if names are more valuable, then more names are burned, or more coins are burned in attempt to and in order to kind of acquire those names, and it makes the overall network more valuable. So it is definitely a value add kind of activity. But it's not, what the original design for Handshake going back didn't really contemplate for I actually didn't think that that would be one of the more popular use cases. I mean, sure, like speculating on TLDs was probably going to happen, but in terms of like people's desires to kind of sell SLDs for it, wasn't one of the things that I would have bet on. To be like a popular use case for Handshake. But it is, right? It's popular on Namebase or Namecheap and Namebase and HNS ID and Varo and so many different places. So making that more seamless, the ability to do that directly on chain as opposed and giving people more options. I think it's kind of like a way to kind of add fuel to the things that are already kind of working on Handshake. It's learning. A lot of this is about like not only like sticking with the original design, definitely we want to stick to the original ethos, but some of the original designs or some of the original thinking was incorrect, right? Handshake, we described it as an experiment, and so what do? You learn from the experiment and kind of learn and then iterate, which is kind of like the perspective we're going into this from.
Yeah, the way I see it is an SLD represents a vote or a membership to a community of a TLD. So the L2 is a way to just measure the votes or the membership of the TLD on L1 is the way I envision it, right? And maybe honestly, I just started thinking about this during this call, during the session, but maybe there could be some kind of like a way to bridge, current SLDs on various chains or even EPP or off chain, etc., to this L2, just as a way to measure the interest of that TLD and support, and that could be used to distribute resources to that effort, something like that.
Yeah, that it's complex and it will take time, but it should be possible to bridge cross chain. I think right now all the bridging you see is in Ethereum and from one L2 to another L2, and here you're speaking bridging essentially from one L2 to an L1 and then an L2 within that L1, if that makes sense. So it's a bit more complex and would have I don't know. I don't see it as a simple thing.
Wouldn't it just be wormhole? Like that's already a thing. For example, I can bridge USDC on Optimism to USDC on Solana. They're entirely different chains.
Yeah, maybe. We would have to look into that.
Yeah, let's look into it to make sure, add all the right technical stuff. But like, it's not a completely new, unheard of thing. It's just, not very common.
True. It's not. And I don't know if SLD, like the amount of SLDs from a TLD would be a good idea for votes, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably not, I would say, just because, like, as we talked about earlier, we've got, from .HNS, there's that one dude who's got, a couple hundred .HNS domains. Like.
Yeah, but I could also, for example, I own .decentralize, and I could just mint 1,000 SLDs just to get more power and, I don't know. It sounds weird.
Does Andrew hear? I can't remember who doesn't hear who.
I think Andrew was not listening.
Oh, he can't hear what you
Yeah,
said.
Andrew can't hear.
I can't hear Alex. I don't know if Alex can
And
hear me,
Alex,
but
Andrew?
for some
Yeah,
reason.
I can hear Andrew. He needs to
So
hop off
basically,
and
Alex, I just want to make sure Andrew hears that, but Alex isn't convinced SLDs are a good measurement of resources for that
mhm.
TLD or interest in that TLD. And he's saying that he could game the system, or people could game the system by like minting or registering a lot of SLDs on that to game the system.
I see. Yeah, I mean, the only way to solve that is really add a cost component to it, and so basically, it would in effect be how much SLDs were, how much in dollar terms or HNS terms or whatever in some unit were spent on SLDs for the TLD, not necessarily like for the number of SLDs. So for example, if somebody's selling, if some TLD owner is selling $100 SLDs versus someone selling $1 SLDs, we'd weight each of the $100 SLDs as 100x the other SLD. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like Dot Wallet right now has 3,000 plus SLDs, and their earnings are like 1/8 or a bit more than 1/8. And Dot HNS has 500 or 600 SLDs and 6 ETH in earnings. So Dot HNS would have more like power in a sense.
Yeah, I think we were thinking of also adding a staking sort of aspect, so that I can't just buy my own SLDs and then, set my own price to 1 ETH and just buy my own SLD over and over again. So I think there was some sort of like an amount of the domain that you could then set to stake, and like every registration, like X% that is then staked to then add to your vote.
There,
Yeah. No, I mean, no. We definitely have to figure out kind of like the game theory behind this. But if ultimately, what are you trying to get out of this game by cheating it, right? Like, and so if you were to try to overrepresent the number of SLDs or the amount of SLDs that you've sold, what can you potentially gain from that, right? So yeah, I mean, one is like potentially a larger share of the airdrops, right? Like, because we are thinking about reallocating, and where would we reallocate to? Maybe a portion of that goes to TLDs and TLDs with SLDs and things like that. So if that were to be a part of this, a part of the design, we'd want to make sure kind of, hey, like, the airdrop you're getting is, equal or less, right, to the to what was spent on the SLD. So if you did that, so if you spent $100 to try to game the SLD system, but you're getting $95 in airdrop, right? Like there's no incentive to do that, right? The other reason, the other kind of part of like what you might be able to game by overrepresenting your SLD, and this is like in the future, is if the TLDs were votes, right, on like governance mechanisms and things like that, and that could be anything. And let's say there is a cheater that some TLD or a group of TLDs that are kind of overrepresenting their SLDs and maybe proposing to give themselves all a bunch of money through a hard fork. Well, like I presume at that point, like either the miners, like which is kind of like the ultimate, they're going to have to enforce the hard fork, right? Or like the overall community itself, like the real community members, will probably voice concern and I presume that wouldn't be a successful endeavor. But I agree. We do need to like take into account, all the gaming aspects of this and ensure that, ensure that it is a, working system.
Yeah, 100%.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Alex. I think we should start to wrap. I mean, it's almost 2 hours now, so I usually keep it an hour, but I think it was good. We can a few more questions, but or at least maybe 15 minutes max, I think is sufficient.
Yeah, I gotta drop too, but I'm happy to. If anybody's interested in like learning more or contributing to some of these hard fork ideas, please reach out, DM, message me on Telegram, whatever. Happy to, definitely need and want and more contributors to these ideas.
Great, thanks, Andrew. Thanks everybody for participating and sharing. We could also do more spaces about this topic too. We weren't sure if we're going to even mention it today, so we could have more dedicated spaces just on that topic and collect more feedback from everyone. So please keep us all posted on your thoughts and feedback. And I think it's an exciting thing for Handshake for sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely have more discussions about it, like going forward, because this is a decentralized project. We want everybody's feedback, but I'm not sure whether we're going to write up a draft of the document first or not. Not sure. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, we'll probably do that, and probably get, a draft circulating. But yeah, I'm definitely looking for more contributors, anybody who wants, who has ideas for this kind of stuff to help out. And then we'll, probably circulate a document, wider and wider to the larger and larger community, until we feel like, hey, this is something that, the community wants.
Great. Thank you so much.
100%.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for, hosting this.
And your thoughts? Anne's all quiet. Well, she was at the beginning saying something. Anne, do you have feelings or thoughts? Loves Handshake.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks everybody for joining. We can create a post on the Handshake Mercenary forum. Then maybe everybody can also share their ideas there.
Sure.
Yeah. So very interesting discussion. I did not expect that we will be reaching or consuming like almost 2 hours. But yes, let me see if I can organize something soon for the further hard fork discussion. And
great.
Thank you so much, everybody.
All right. Yeah. Have a great day or morning, evening, or middle of the night for like Alex and others in Europe. Thanks for your time. Okay, that's a wrap for me. Take care, everybody.
Cool. Thanks.
Nice to hear everybody's voice. Hopefully we'll be starting to do these calls on Thunderbolt soon.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Posted. And then